Hey everybody, I'm meteorologist Brian Good here with a Friday evening update on some of the model trends. I wanted to touch base on that. I know you guys have a lot of questions, and it's really been busy this afternoon, so I'm able to get to everybody, but we'll try our best to get to all your questions here. Just keep in mind, we really can't answer a lot of the specifics right now when it comes to what time will your hometown get hit and will your town be hit, those kind of questions. Just can't really pinpoint yet. I think tomorrow morning and midday we'll have a better timing idea and impact, but this is how things are looking as of this evening. First off, here's the storm system in question. We'll point out that yes, there is rain on the radar heading toward us, but we have a very dry atmosphere. Dew points were in the teens all day yesterday and are struggling to climb with moisture levels here this afternoon. So it looks more threatening on the radar than what it really is. It is increasing the cloud cover, the moisture is, but it's not really allowing for a lot of the raindrops to survive. Can't rule out a few that could, but most areas will stay dry. All right, so our main system is the low that's over here in southeast Colorado. That is low pressure. It's going to work its way into our area as we head into tomorrow afternoon and evening. Is going to be the main concern we're going to have as we head into Saturday itself. So for tonight, the severe weather risk limited to just ahead of the low itself. There's a slight and enhanced risk there over Kansas. Slight and enhanced risk with that strong south flow where the warm front is passing through that area. Tomorrow, it shifts eastward, and it's mainly focused along the area of low pressure more than anywhere. There's a slight risk right across the Louisville area down to Lexington, and then once you go into Bullitt County, you enter the enhanced risk. As we mentioned before, SBC is not upgrading us just yet to the moderate risk level. They're evaluating information. I got a feeling they probably will with the new update, which will be after midnight tonight. But there is still some wobbling going on with the model data, and we're still seeing that this evening. So that's the reason why they really don't want to put too big of an area out. So they want to wait and see how the data looks later tonight before they make a decision on whether or not to issue a moderate. Moderate, enhanced, slight, it doesn't really matter. We just want you to understand if the potential is there for damaging storms for a good chunk of our area tomorrow. And that's the main message I want you to get out and not get caught up on risk levels. And you notice that the more you are across Kentucky, the more of the threat is higher for you, and say if you live in our northern counties in Indiana towards Cincinnati. So that's kind of the general idea. I want everybody to make sure they just get in your head. And that's why it's so hard to pick out your town, your home location, and how you will be impacted, because we just don't know that answer entirely yet. So I'm going to show you the updated to the short-term models. We've got the RPM and our NAM model. Start with the RPM. Again, picking out a few sprinkles later tonight, overnight, and then we'll see the warm front. Now, the marathon is going to kick off. The starting line opens at 7 a.m., and at that point, the runners will start, and there'll be a rain band approaching with that warm front. Now, if that speed holds, the race will start, but the race may likely get interrupted midway through as the warm front passes in. Now, this is not expected to be severe weather. I will say this, though. I mean, you'll see in a second. The wind fields are very impressive at this time. There's just not a lot of instability for anything severe to take place. Thank goodness for that, but we'll be watching it carefully in the morning hours. Looks to be a narrow band of rain, though, as it passes through. Some lightning, heavy rain, the main issue. But look what happens. Once it passes through, there you go, warm sector, and it's going to warm up fast. Now, as we get into the afternoon and evening, this is what we've got to watch for, because there will be a band along wherever the warm front stalls. Don't know where that's going to be, but right along there, got to watch these individual cells that'll pop. I mean, the shear is going to be very impressive along the warm front. You've got a very strong southerly flow, and you got a easterly flow ahead of the front itself, and then you got the very strong winds aloft blowing in the jets. So you've got a lot of mixing going on, a lot of turning with the wind fields, and that's the reason why this is the area we're really going to watch for potential for some spinning going on with tornadoes. And of course, with the instability so high to the south, you're also in that zone as well. You can see, though, in the afternoon and evening, anywhere along that front and south is the area we've got to start watching. There is going to be an area of storms, looks like, moving out ahead of the low itself by evening. And then as we get into mid-evening, you see how storms continue to pop on the radar. Clusters, supercells, not out of the question, as they move across the Ohio River into mainly Kentucky by mid to late evening, and mainly along and south of the parkways, in fact, while Louisville finally gets a break by late evening, and then spotty showers, and then it's all over with by early Sunday. Here's the latest on the NAM model. Later tonight, again, a few sprinkles. Remember before it was real dramatic on that rain band. It's finally starting to realize the setup and is backing off on that idea, and as we suspected it would. Tomorrow morning, it's real dramatic here. The grid on the NAM is not as great as the RPM I just showed you. That's why it's a little more wider with the rain here. It's probably a narrow band of showers and storms passing through. But timing, again, very close to 7 to 9 a.m. It'll pass through the area. As far as the afternoon goes, where's that warm front end up stopping? The NAM seems to be aiming for anywhere from Jasper, right over Louisville, Shelbyville, and Lexington seems to be the zone it's aiming in on 40s and 50s to the north, and then warmer 70s to the south. And as I mentioned before, you got to watch along the boundary, and then also in the unstable, very unstable atmosphere south of the boundary. The two areas we'll be tracking for clusters of showers and storms, and potentially for supercells to pass through. Another round potentially may develop as we head toward late evening, mainly for our southern counties, and then we'll be in the clear. So overall, putting all this together, I know it's a lot of information, but in general, we're thinking the severe weather risk will be mainly limited from areas I've drawn here in the yellow, just north of Louisville southward is where our main concern is going to be for severe weather. The more north you go, the better chances are you're just dealing with rain, lightning, and maybe some small hail, but nothing to the extent of what's going on down here. And the risk in that southern area, in the yellow, would be 65 to 75 mile per hour winds, hailstones anywhere between golf balls to perhaps even as large as baseball-sized hail out of these storms. Tornadoes, you got it. That's a potential there. It's not going to be widespread, but these clusters that pop, one or two of these is really going to have a nice signature to it, the way it's looking based on this data we're getting. And those are the ones you got to really watch for a potential for a strong tornado that could develop. And again, it's hard to tell where that's going to be, but that potential is there. And then flooding will depend on the areas that get hit with rain over and over and over again along that boundary, and we don't know that answer just yet. All right, so that's the general overview of how things are looking for a good chunk of the area between now and Saturday afternoon with the latest data. Now, if that's all you wanted to know, stop the video blog right now and go back to your normal life. But if you really want to get nerdy and go into a little more detail, then I'm going to go forward now and go into what we call the soundings here. A lot of you weather nuts know what I'm talking about, of some of the data I've been looking at. Let me start you off with the Louisville sounding, and I know it's hard to see some of this data because it's such a small screen. And we even shrunk myself down, and still it's not big enough. Anyway, this sounding looking at ground level all the way up. If you look carefully, this is the morning hours, and the warm front's coming through Louisville. If you look carefully, there's the window right here out of the southeast. So a lot of turning here with the wind. And the helicity, it's, I got cut off there, I apologize, but it's a long red bar here. I mean, helicity's off the chart, but there's no cape, no instability. So that is our saving grace from a high helicity, highly sheared environment early in the morning hours with showers and storms. Now, for the afternoon, the NAM again is keeping the warm front very close to the Louisville area. It's showing quite a bit of speed shear by all means along the front. But you see there's definitely is some turning that's going on in the wind direction, and the helicity's still up here. This is the red bar. Helicity's still in the red zone, if you will. LI is about -2, anywhere between 0 to -10 is your range on average. -2 is in the severe potential. Totals into the 50s, which once you get to about 55, 56, that's when you're talking about potential for severe weather as well. And so I'm impressed. A little bit of pocket of dry air. That would help with some downburst potential with some of these winds as well in the lower levels. And again, overall, the front's right on top of us. But there's enough shear here by all means to produce severe weather even here in Louisville, even though we may not, on the NAM model, get as warm as the RPM. RPM got us at 78. The NAM's like 65. Not a huge difference, but the more heat does add more fuel. But nevertheless, even if we're along the boundary, gotta be alert on this. I do want to share the outlook here for the Bowling Green area. This is a lot of our listeners and viewers here are down into Bowling Green, and the sounding for Saturday morning around 9 a.m. The warm front's past you at this point. You're fairly stable. You don't have instability just yet. You're just now starting to get into the point where you're getting through some sunshine. But by the afternoon, I mean, anytime you see all red over here, that is not a good thing, Bowling Green. And you're just off the chart. I mean, it's about 2,900 capes. Helicity at about 285. The EHI over 4, which is our rotation ability for rotating storms. And you've got the LI, I think about a -8, close to that -10. Total is about 57. Yeah. And here's what we call, you've seen the references in the discussions about Fat Cape. This is it right here. This zone is the ability to have Fat Cape that I've outlined. And it is showing up there for Bowling Green. So Bowling Green looks very unstable for the afternoon hours with a lot of instability and the sheer potential. So you guys have really got to watch the supercells that could pop into near and close to the Warren County area. So that's your concern. For Louisville, it's mainly going to be the front itself and how things evolve for us here in town. And north of there, fairly quiet. So I probably didn't really clear up a lot, but it is a complicated setup, guys. And I know you guys are going crazy with data being thrown at you everywhere, and everybody's tweeting all kinds of crazy stuff. Be careful. Don't get too caught up in other models. I've seen the models before place fronts and severe weather in one spot, and when the event actually happens, it ended up being about 5 counties off where it indicated the day before. So that's why we're going with caution on this. I think severe weather is a very high likelihood, yes. But really, to go, now we're not going to go crazy on this and tell you the end of the world's coming tomorrow, because I don't think that's set in stone by all means, thank goodness. But we just make sure you're aware of what's going on. Don't worry. Let us do the worrying for you guys, and we'll have you updated all night long tonight, and of course throughout the day tomorrow. Thanks for watching.